and welcome to this morning's introduction to taking your business online, which will be presented by Madalen Ross from Small Business Mentoring Service. I'm Jennifer Pearson. I'm the Retail Activity Centre Officer and Business Support Officer for the City of Whittlesea Council. We have partnered with Small Business Mentoring Service to bring mentoring services and education sessions such as these to business owners. As Madalen said, the webinar is being recorded so that you can watch it later on and go back to it. And next week on the 14th of June, we are holding the intermediate session, so just a little bit more complex. If you are looking to find out more about what the City of Whittlesea does to support business, please sign up to our business e-news or email me. You should all have my email address from the reminders this morning, and I can connect you with signing up to our business e-news to give you opportunities for networking, mentoring and other business support services. I'll now hand over to Madalen to take us through this morning's webinar. Thanks, Madalen.
Thank you very much. And yes, as Jennifer said, I'm with the Small Business Mentoring Service, but also I am a small business owner and work with many businesses in different industries. Now, I am just going to share my screen so that we can start the presentation. Okay. So can you all see the screen now?
Yes, Madalen, yep.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay. All righty. We'll go to the next slide. So today I want to keep it very casual, and this is for for the very basics. So why go digital? Do I really need a website? The evolving web. We really need to start planning from the outside in. Which platform is right for you, engaging your customers online, and then I'll give some digital productivity tools and resources that you can use in those areas. Now, so they're the topics that we're going to discuss. I get asked many questions about building a website. Do I need a website? How much will it cost? Where do I start? Which platform should I use? So we're going to touch on all of those. And what I did want to look at is, let's have a look at some facts. COVID's changed the way that we shop and research for products and services. There were 22.3 million internet users in Australia in January 22, and an increase of 265,000 between 2019 and 2022. Mobile devices, not including tablets, make up about 52% of web page views on the internet. There were 18 million social media users in Australia in January 2022, which is an increase of about 735k or plus 4% between April 2019 and January 2022. Australians spent a record 62.3 billion online in the last year, and Australia Post's CEO expects that to double over the next 5 years. Only 52% of Australian small businesses use social media versus 85% of large businesses. So, there's some telling factors there. One of the other things that you need to be aware of is that Google makes 500 plus algorithm changes yearly. And, so why do they do that? Well, their artificial intelligence is working overtime, and, they know that people are online. And so they want a website that is fast and mobile friendly, and it has really good content on it. It's got to be relative content. Amazon calculated that a page load slowed down of just 1 second could cost it $1.6 billion in sales each year. Google has calculated that by slowing its search results by just 0.4 of a second, they could lose 8 million searches per day, meaning they'd serve up many millions fewer online adverts. So that's a hell of a lot of dollars that they'd be missing out. And Shopify has said that most customers don't wait even 3 seconds for an e-commerce site to load. So, one of the important factors in having a website is having the right platform, having the right applications, and making it fast and user-friendly. It's not about you, it's about the customer. Google has 94.56% of search engine market share in Australia. So that's 94. Bing comes in second at only 3.65%, Yahoo at 0.8%, and DuckDuckGo at 0.6%. So when we look at why do we need a website, well, it depends. But most of the time, 99% of the time, it's yes. But you have to look at what your goals are. What's the bigger picture? Do you have a retail shop? Are you trying to get more foot traffic? Are you trying to get website sales? Is it to be used as a brochure site? Is it a photography site? Do you need to get a contact list together? Are you trying to get more followers? And usually it's all of this. So what are your capabilities? Can you create your own quality content? Is this the best way for you to spend your time? We're all time poor. And, you really need to think carefully about whether this is something that you want to take on yourself. So you need to think about what's your budget. If the answer is no to the question above, can you create your own quality content, then you need to spend some dollars, and that is either hiring someone or an agency to help you do it. Or you have to learn how to do it yourself, which is very time consuming. So when we look at how we operate, every business has a window, and it's for some it's a physical window, like I said, a retail shop. For others, it's a market stall, and for many, it's a website. 41% of Australian businesses have a website, but that's 59% that don't. 93% of Australians search Google for information before buying. And buyers look at 9 to 13 websites before making a decision about what or where to buy. Now, I know I do this myself. I do look around, I do check, I do spend online, and I do look at reviews. So the top 2 channels of customer research online are review sites, 55%, and company websites, 47%. It's another channel. It creates new opportunities. It can be cheaper and easier than you think. It's a way to get repeat customers. And if you've already got a website, then you probably need to think about what you could be changing, what is it actually working for you, and whether it's what your customer is looking for. And we'll have a look at that in a moment. So the thing is, we have to plan from the outside in. The web's changed customer behaviour, and very few have noticed, except that COVID has changed things. When the web came along, the ground rules started to shift. But even then, most businesses, the web simply became an extension of the old push marketing methods, with most websites internally focused and built around propositions like, we've been established for X number of years, we're experienced, we can do what the competition does, but we're better. And you've got to move past that. In the past decade, the customer's been quietly accumulating knowledge using the tools available via websites, forums, blogs, and social media. And so they are now more informed, they're more discerning, they're more demanding in terms of what they perceive as a quality experience. And so we have to change with that. We have to move along with that. This is my chook. I like using my chook because it sort of explains it in very basic terms. When you've got a chook, you've got the frame, then you've got the meat, and you've got the finished product. But the first thing you need is a domain name. So you have to sign up with a domain registrar. And the second is the hosting platform. So when we're looking at the framework, that is the type of hosting platform that you're going to be using. And there are so many out there, but probably the most used are WordPress, Wix, Shopify, there's host site builders, there's Square, there's even Google sites now that you can build a website on. Then you're looking at the meat. So that's the framework. You're looking at the meat. What's going to make up this framework? What are we going to add to it? So that is the theme. That's the look and feel of the site. And then you're looking at plugins and integrations. And WordPress uses the term plugins, but they're relatively apps as well. And then we're looking at the relative content. So that's like blogs, images, all the pages that you're going to have, the images that you're going to have. And then there's the finished product, which is an optimized website. So you've done your keyword research, it's responsive, it's fast, you're getting backlinks, you've connected to Google Analytics. And then there's also the maintenance. And this is where people get caught up a lot, is on the maintenance. So this is where looking at what sort of site is best for you comes into play. So you need to ask yourself quite seriously, what is it that I really need versus what would I like to have? Because not only is that going to cost you in dollars, but it's also sometimes very unnecessary. You don't need to have all the bells and whistles. And using all the bells and whistles means also, or could mean also, that your site is going to be slower, particularly if you haven't optimized many aspects of the website. So with some ideas to choose from and determine what's necessary for your website versus what's not, obviously you want an About Us page with your team members if possible. Have a look at a newsletter, but I want you to think very carefully about what it is that you actually need. A good web developer, a good agency will be talking you through all of these things. They take the time to get to know you, not only as a person, but as a business. They have to understand what your business is and what it is that you're trying to achieve. And so they will be working with you to determine all of those things. Now, I'm just going to quickly go through a few of the different platforms that are available. Now, these aren't all, and obviously, you know, there's so many out there. And sometimes you'll find some web developers who are really experts at WordPress. Others might be experts in Wix or Squarespace or Shopify. So you need to be able to talk that through with them. But again, it's best if you know some of the, if you do some of the background work and understand for yourself what it is that that you'd like to achieve. So what goals do you want your website to achieve? What image, look, or feel do you want your brand's website to portray? What's your budget? Now, with these different platforms, I've just run through a few. Squarespace, that's becoming pretty popular. It's got some nice themes. It's got limitations, but overall it's a nice looking CMS. Now, Wix, I'm finding many of the very small businesses are using Wix a lot more, and I've got to say Wix is not my favourite for SEO purposes, but it depends on your budget. There are also free Wix sites available, and I don't recommend free sites because they're very limited in what you can do. But then again, if Wix is the way that you'd like to go, there are premium themes that that will have additional apps included into it, and you can get a really good looking site. But you might want to choose a really nice theme, or talk to your developer or your agency to find the best one to suit your business. Obviously, there's Shopify. I think everybody pretty much now has heard of Shopify. It is a very nice platform to use. It also has its limitations, and you do have to pay additional fees for apps. There are free apps as well as premium apps, but it can get a little bit expensive, but it works very well. WordPress, look, I've got to say WordPress is probably my favourite for me personally, because there are so many apps. It's very flexible. There's commerce plugins, there's free page builders, there's free and premium themes, but it doesn't suit everybody. And this is something else that, when you're talking to an agency or a developer, you need to go through the pros and cons of having a WordPress site, because yes, it's free sort of to start with the framework, but then once you start building on the apps, then it can, you might need premium, and so there will be a cost with those. And there is quite a big learning curve, and this is something else that you want to talk to your agency with, is can they teach you? Will they spend the time showing you how to use the site builders, how to, add pages, add images, optimize your images ready to load up there? Squarespace is one that's come into the market pretty late, but it's making a big impact. Now, one of the other things in your preparation is looking at the hierarchy, or what they call the silo. So, and this comes in preparing. So, with the preparation, think about where you want your users to go. What's the most important thing? what do you need? Where do you want them to go? What are the main sections of your website? And try to keep it as simple as possible. Communicate from the top down. Can someone find your information easily enough? And it's all about the UX, the design. It's got to be user-friendly. And this, again, is where someone can really help you organise this. But it's good if you could start doing some homework yourself. The evolving web, there's just so much happening out there. And, when we're talking about the structure of a website and developing it a bit further, we need to look at, I've said the goals. What outcomes do we want? So you'd be looking at the sort of outcomes. Do you want them to purchase? Do you want them to buy, to donate, to renew a subscription? Do you want them to inquire, connect, download some important information? Is it connected to social media and content so that you have a consistently dynamic website, if you like? You want to keep it updated. You want to connect with all these other areas and make it mobile and tablet friendly. You want landing pages of the most important things on your site. And then when we talk about backlinks, and this is part of SEO, where can you connect to get backlinks to your website? I've got some tools, and I love Screaming Frog. Screaming Frog is a free downloadable tool, and it's not only good for yourself, but it's good if you're looking at a competitor and you want to have a look at how they've created their hierarchy, what their titles and descriptions are, why they're doing so well or so badly. And so you can actually do some competitor research using Screaming Frog, SEO Spider. One of the important aspects of optimizing a website is image optimization, particularly those who have e-commerce stores. You having an e-commerce store means it's going to be pretty heavy with images, and those images need to be optimized. If they're taking too long to download, people are going to get put off and they'll move away fairly quickly. So there's a few free downloadable apps and online. Tiny JPEG is a great little app, and you can see there that, pardon me, you drag and drop your image across, and it optimizes the image without losing, without losing any of the data from the image. It's an excellent little tool. And there's also an image resizer called Pic Resize. There's many out there, and there's many image compression tools as well. But those are the ones that are very good. And there's a great app called FastStone. And it's very fast in optimizing, resizing images, particularly if you've got a retail store and you've got 100 images. It will do it all very quickly for you. SEO tools. If you already have a website, it's great to continually do site speed tests. If you've got SEO tools to work with, then you're going to be able to find that you can keep a check on your own website and improve it as you go along. So this is a sort of like a toolbox for Firefox and Chrome browser, but and you're able to get SEO summaries and site checks. There's also the SEO bar that you can get from SEO Quake. It's quite a nifty, all of these tools are quite nifty in giving you site audits and tools to use. I love SEM Rush and Neil Patel's Uber Suggest. They're two great tools I keep going back to. GT Metrics and Pingdom are very good tools as well. I just wanted to make a list of free or royalty-free images. Many people get caught out thinking that when using royalty-free images that you're safe. Grabbing images from around the web is really risky, as you could be breaking copyright. So just running a quick search for free stock photos or royalty-free photos, it's going to bring you loads of deceptive websites that sometimes require payment to download any of their images. The sites have specifically been chosen that I've listed here as they offer Creative Commons zero licenses or similar, so that the images are free to use for commercial purposes. Be sure to read each site carefully, as terms do change over time. And even though I've provided this list of sites, I do suggest that you always do research when using an image to ensure that its license allows for what you plan to do with the photo or the video. And also, maybe not all of these sites are current, because many sites have closed down over the COVID period, so that may have changed as well. When we're talking about engaging customers online, we need to think about what do we want them to do when they come to your website, but also offline as well. I think that too many people get caught up in thinking about, what do I want on my website? What do I need? No, not even what do I need. What do I want on my website? What do I want my customers to do? Even though they're the things that you have to think about, you have to think more along the lines of you as the customer coming to your website, rather than you wanting to put up what you want to put up, if that makes sense. So when you're engaging customers, you need to have a look at their needs. You need to do the research. You need to do continuous evaluation. There's a decision process that comes through. There's contacts. What sort of support are you going to give them? Are you going to use a chat box? Chat boxes are great, but, does that mean, are you going to use intelligent chat boxes that you can set up that can answer questions without you having to be there 24/7? So and again, a developer will be able to go through all of these things with you. How loyal is your customer? And you can probably, and again, when you're engaging with customers online, you probably want to think about having that newsletter, getting that EDM out. How often am I going to do that? What am I going to give them? What value are they going to get from visiting my website? So I think Q&A. Are there any questions? And, Craig, I know that you're in this field, and so I'd like to hear your comments as well.
I think everything that you mentioned is quite valid. The space that we operate in, and we build somewhere between 60 and 80 websites a month, is one where we we're in rescue mode most of the time. Websites can be a pretty confusing, grubby space. The rescue mode we find ourselves in is predominantly focused on people that have got a WordPress site and can't manage it. I think the other thing that I would mention to those that are here is that if they have an intention to manage content themselves, which is really important for Google ranking, then they probably need to look at options other than WordPress unless they're a computer programmer, because managing a WordPress site can be difficult. But there are lots and lots of really easy systems around that are jam-packed with functionality, and thank goodness technology is just making it easier and easier for people.
Yeah, that's true, and you're right about WordPress, and that's why I mentioned earlier that there is a huge learning curve, and I mean even with the core updates that they do have from time to time, and just recently gone up to 6.0, and it can make some problems occur on a website with JavaScript and CSS if you haven't backed that up. So there's the regular maintenance of the plugins, although you can now set them to update automatically, but that's a little bit risky. So you have to know which plugins you can update automatically and which ones you're better to update manually. And yes, there is a big learning curve and there is maintenance involved. So yeah,
I think that the whole concept of plugins too is becoming a bit old hat, which is why WordPress is typically recommended by website developers, because the analogy that we use is that WordPress is sort of like trying to build a BMW with second-hand Ford and Holden parts. If you wanted to do e-commerce, you have to bolt something on. Marketing, you have to bolt it on. If you want, they just keep bolting stuff on, all the terminology is in.
I think
every time you plug something in, that's a new system that the average small to medium business owner has to learn to manage.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense for most.
Yeah, there's also risks involved, isn't there? Security risks, because with WordPress you've got it's developers that are building these plugins, and so you are holding yourself to ransom down the track. And down the track too, there's been many occasions where the developer of the plugin is no longer updating to the latest version of WordPress, so they don't work anymore. So then you have to...
Majority of them.
Yeah, absolutely. So are there any questions? In that case, Jennifer, thank you very much for having me on board, and thank you to those who are on the webinar today. Small business mentoring service is available, and please feel free to visit our website at sbms.org.au. We have over 180 mentors around Australia, and they're all happy and willing to help any business in need. So I will just, I'll stop the share.
Wonderful. Thank you for that wonderful presentation, and to everyone for attending. There will be a recording available of today's session on our library on the City of Whittlesea business page, and I will email you the link if you would like it. So when we get that. So if anyone is looking for any business support in the City of Whittlesea, please reach out to me. You would have my email address or our general business@whittlesea.vic.gov.au, and we can let you know what we're doing to support business. So And please look out for next week's intermediate, slightly more complex webinar, which Madalen will be presenting for us on the 14th. So if you haven't registered for that one, perhaps have a listen in on that one as well. Thanks again, everybody. Stay warm and thank you for attending.